the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Dogs. Let's talk about Mike Bobo trending again this weekend. Georgia fans not happy with that first half. That screen cap that I sent you, 0-0 after the first quarter for the Dogs. Still not, I mean, really just the whole case for the SEC East this weekend for the most part. Just the offense was not flowing for anybody, especially in the first half. Georgia obviously cleaned some stuff up in the second half, but the walk-on Muse, who's becoming a quick fan favorite here, it seems like he has a punt return TD early in this one, and Carson Beck kind of settled in as the game went along. The defense still looks legit all across the board. Has there been an update on Bullard? Is his injury serious?
I have not heard an update on Javon Bullard, but yeah, Mekhi Muse has definitely been a guy from absolute nowhere. Balled out in the spring game. I was like, that was a good story. But then, yeah, to see him returning kicks and punts, I think the first play of the season was like a screen pass to Mekhi Muse. Like, not really prepared for how big of a part of the offense and just the obviously the special teams this guy's been so far, but. He's like, what, about 5'5", but he's making plays. Georgia loves a walk-on story. But yeah, I will say, was that?
Oh no, I was just gonna say. So, what do you think when you look at Georgia this week versus last week? Where do they look better? Where do they maybe look worse than a week ago? Where are you at there?
I mean, I think for the second week in a row, they definitely started slow. But I mean, I think this is why, like, you shouldn't be worried about Mike Bobo, because Mike Bobo never had a defense like this one. And obviously this is Ball State and UT Martin. So it's like, we don't hardly learn anything from these games anyway. Like, I can't stress that enough. See Jalen Milroe versus Middle Tennessee State. But you look at Georgia, I mean, what they did in the second quarter, like 31-0 in the second quarter. It's like, this thing was 31-0 at half. Like, if Mike Bobo is trending, like, that's news to me. Like, this team's won the first two games 48-7 and 45-3. Like, you saw the defense obviously played a bigger role in the second game, forcing like multiple interceptions. I think, what was it, 3 interceptions they had in this one? And obviously the offense benefited from the short field, but it's like, if the offense gets the ball at the 25-yard line and goes 25 yards and scores, like that's all they can do, right? It's like, you're not going to have a 75-yard drive when you start 25 yards from the end zone. So this is what Georgia is. It's complementary football. The defense helps the offense, help the special teams. Like, it's a whole thing. And I think Georgia, even though they did miss a chip shot field goal in this one in the first quarter, hopefully the kickers, they do have a new kicker, so hopefully they can get that situation settle down. But yeah, I'm shocked to hear that anyone's talking about Mike Bobo, other than the fact that some weird Georgia fans out there have a strange obsession with Mike Bobo. But yeah, 48-7 and 45-3. I can't really think of much negative to say about Georgia.
But are you surprised by that? Bobo was a lightning rod 12 years ago. Like, he's going to be a lightning rod whenever anything's not normal. Like, this man is going to be the punching bag.
I'm surprised in a 48-7 and 45-3 game. Yeah, it's like Todd Monken, like, what was the Samford score last year? Like 30-0. Like, they barely beat Kent State. Like, that was like a weird game where the offense wasn't gelling, you know? So it's like, these things happen all the time. There's like this revisionist history that Todd Monken won every game 65-7. It's like, that's not really how things happen. So the offense has been fine. I'm sure Georgia's not showing everything they can do when they're playing Ball State and UT Martin. So I think Carson Beck, he threw an interception in this one that, wasn't really his fault, just a deflection a ball got tipped up in the air on a deep shot. But I mean, he looked solid in this one. I think Carson Beck's athleticism, I think, is definitely an underlooked part of his game. Like, he's got just that minimal athleticism that something breaks down, this guy can run. He's not a statue in the pocket. So I think Beck's athleticism has been kind of a pleasant surprise so far. But yeah, 23 of 30, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, he was efficient in this one. I think he made a few throws that you're like, you can see the talent that Beck has. But one thing, last year, the first couple of games, Georgia didn't really run the ball that well. And it's like, you're kind of seeing that in the first 2 games this year. But Dylan Bell, the sophomore wide receiver, was moved to running back some in fall camp, and you saw him actually get some carries. He had 3 carries for 28 yards and a touchdown. Like, this guy, he kind of looked like a better running back than any of the other running backs have looked so far this year. So I'm curious to see what Georgia does with that. But yeah, we'll learn a lot more about this team after facing a team like South Carolina. That obviously could still be, one of the worst teams in the SEC. No disrespect to Gamecocks fans, but even if Georgia beats South Carolina 38-7 or something, I think there's still going to be people that are questioning how good this team is. I mean, I don't know. I guess you're just comparing them to perfection, and you just want them to look perfect every week, and it hasn't been perfect. But I'd be surprised to hear anyone say anything overly negative about the first two weeks, and especially because the defense is always going to be what it is, and that's just what Georgia. That's what Georgia is.
All right, I like it. With South Carolina coming up, at least you get. We both are going to be. We're excited about our preview this week because we have important Georgia and Tennessee games to talk about heading into this weekend here. But in terms of Tennessee, I'll quickly parse through. Did you watch any of Tennessee? Why am I blank? Austin P over the weekend?
I did not catch much of this one. I did catch the uniforms, which how do you feel about the uniforms before you get into the game?
I thought they were fine. They look a lot better because those were leaked this summer, and people were like, "Are those real?" So part of it is Tennessee has a deal with Nike that they have to change the smoky grays every year.
See, that's what I don't like. I wish they had an alternate and just like that's what they rocking this like different alternate every year. There's something grinds my gears about that. I didn't hate the uniform like some people did, but I like the grays more than some people do. But I don't know. It was an interesting look.
It's okay. I'm also glad they got it out of the way against a team that didn't matter. So I didn't want to see those uniforms against like South Carolina.